Welcome to our robotic episode of A Very Kooky Countdown. We'll meet a bopping traditional samurai robot. To a robot waiter who never gets an order wrong. To robots that help people walk. All that is coming up. Welcome to this episode of A Very Kooky Countdown, where this time we're taking a look at robots. At number 10, move over Rover, it seems man's best friend could soon be one of these. Here in England, scientists are studying how to make robots friendly for humans and have set up a Big Brother-style robot house in which to conduct their experiments.
Our final goal is to develop social robots, robot companions, which means robots that can not only do useful tasks, like helping us and giving us assistance in various household tasks, but also robots that have manners, robots that know how to behave and that we can interact with in a way that we are comfortable with, that we will accept.
Hello there. Though none of the robots get booted out of the house each week, the idea behind the experiment is to see how comfortable people are when living around the robots.
Some people would like the robots, in terms of their preferences, would like the robot to behave rather like a smart machine rather than a personality. Other people would like something a bit more chatty. Some people like the butler. The word butler seems to come up quite a lot. You know, they like it's unobtrusive, but it's there when you need it.
Now these robots have moved from the laboratory to the real world. Scientists are hoping to find a use for them in people's homes. Let's just hope there's no exterminate. At number 9 on this very kooky countdown, meet Cube-kun, a robot built for a specific purpose, to solve a puzzle that has puzzled man since 1974, the Rubik's Cube, created by Hungarian engineer Erno Rubik. This Japanese robot comes to the aid of those who received the Rubik's Cube as a gift and need that extra help to solve it, usually in just a matter of minutes. Manufactured by one of Japan's leading industrial robot makers, Kawasaki Heavy Industries, the robot was recently showed off at a Tokyo Science Museum. This robot can solve the biggest craze of the 1980s, the Rubik's Cube, no matter what state it's in, and it usually takes less than 3 minutes. The robot identifies the colours of all 54 squares of the Rubik's Cube, and then finds the fastest way to restore it to its original state by rotating it with its robotic hands. The company behind the machine specialises in manufacturing sophisticated industrial robots, which this is, of course, one. For anyone who has attempted to solve the puzzle of the Rubik's Cube, there is an astonishing 43 quintillion different configurations. Burglars beware! This little beauty is designed to stop robbers in their tracks with its Spiderman-like web. This robot doesn't need a fancy superhero suit. It may look pretty harmless, but it's the latest in robotic high-tech security and was designed to help night watchmen guard public offices and buildings. Called simply T-34, it comes in at our number 8 spot on this robotic episode of A Very Kooky Countdown.
You don't know what is happening when the net was being launched. My head turned blank, and before you know it, you're entangled inside the net. If I were a real robber, I would seriously be surprised. It was quite difficult to put each function into one machine. Functions such as chasing after an intruder or shooting out a net towards the intruder. We have made passive robots used at home to monitor the safety of people. But it's the first to make robots that can take offensive to a dangerous situation. By throwing a net over unsuspecting intruders, the remote-controlled robot can secure a burglar until police help arrives. Not much larger than a radio-controlled car, the robot will patrol buildings on its own, reaching speeds of up to 10 km per hour. And when it identifies an intruder, it will notify the watchman by ringing their mobile phone. Though not in mass production now, it's hoped this robot will one day be available commercially. Still to come on this kooky episode, thespian robots, plus lots more.
Welcome back to a very kooky countdown. It's now time to meet a very unique farmer, a robot farmer from China. This is Yulu, and he's been building robots for as long as he can remember. Since 1995, he claims to have made at least 20 different robots that all perform various functions. Living on a farm on the outskirts of Beijing, the Chinese farmer is known through his village for his 5 sons. Yulu's 5 robots that do some pretty funky stuff around his house. The robots can shuck corn, light cigarettes and change light bulbs. They can dance, one can jump, another can run and chase away curious children. There is also a robot that can walk on walls and ceilings.
Robots can replace humans in doing some simple work. It can do work in places where people can't because people may be afraid or it may be dangerous. For example, robots are not afraid of being infected by virus, however serious it may be. And it's honest and trustworthy. It's not as lazy as a human. But the latest invention is Wu's greatest and gets a big thumbs up from his very supportive wife. This new 3-foot-high concoction of gears and cables and wrapped in a flower green skirt does the housework. Actors, huh? Sometimes hard to work with, demanding and sometimes fickle. Well, in this story at number 6 on the countdown, these 5 robotic actors ask for nothing more than a PowerPoint at the end of the show to recharge for the next performance. They may well be a flash in the pan, but they're stealing the show right now in an off-Broadway theatrical production.
I think a lot of people enter the show hoping to see the robots, and they think of it as sort of as a gimmick production, and then they're kind of wowed by the fact that it is really funny and that it has sort of emotional depth to it, and it's really smart and also really sophomoric and has all these different elements beyond just sort of a sketch comedy show with robots, which I think is what most people are anticipating.
The troupe behind the ingenious production have gained a strong following with young New Yorkers looking for humorous and intellectual theatre by offering this production called Henetron.
We were going to install like little computers in each of the robots, and they were going to generate their own text and react to the actors. But in the design process, we sort of decided between ourselves and the director that anything that we could sort of any sort of activity we could take away from the robots and put into the hands of a human being, we would go in that direction. So while yes, we could sort of develop an R2-D2 robot for the theater, probably not such a good idea.
Though some of the robots have been known to occasionally suffer from stage fright, they're generally applauded for a good performance. A Very Kooky Countdown continues with our number 5 robot, and this one is designed to assist the elderly. This new 2-legged robot, dubbed WL16R3, can walk on flat surfaces while a human rides on top and steers. The robot, which effectively recreates the ability to walk, is 1.3 metres tall and weighs 68 kilograms, and is designed to aid the elderly and disabled to walk. This robot can walk only on a flat road for now, but we hope it will be able to help physically handicapped people to move around freely in the future. Currently, it only operates on flat surfaces, but future versions of the robot should allow it to move over uneven surfaces and even climb stairs. There are still no plans to make the robot available commercially, as it can only carry passengers of up to 50 kilograms due to safety reasons. While the robot does help with mobility, there are some people that think it looks like a prop straight out of the Terminator movies. Let's stay in Japan for our number 4 spot on this robotic episode of our countdown. And promoted here in a Japanese department store, this is the latest in Japan's samurai robots, who proudly paraded around the shopping centre telling all that would listen that every home should have a robot like him. Swaggering around the store promoting a full range of house-sitting robots, the samurai robot called Kaimori, who was named after a 12th century general, certainly got the attention of shoppers. The robot can walk and sit with its 39-jointed frame. Due to the new technology, Kaimori walks more human-like than other biped walking robots, which are unable to stretch their knees while they're walking. There are no plans right now to put the robot on sale around the globe, but the technology is moving along quickly, and this latest machine can be remote controlled by mobile phones and send video from its camera. If you're keen for one of these, it'll only set you back a measly $2,600 US. This robot can go to places where wheel-type robots can't go, such as stairs. So I hope this robot will be a substitute for human beings to do dangerous work. The robot is pretty much used just for demonstrations of the company's advanced use of technology, but they hope to upgrade it in the future as a security robot and caretaker robot for the elderly and disabled. The world is this robot's oyster as he heads off overseas soon for a summer wine festival in France, and hopefully can make an impression in the European robot market. After the break, our top 3 robot marvels on a very kooky countdown. As we continue our robotic episode of a very kooky countdown, we discover a robot doing medical rounds in a Baltimore hospital. RoboDoc, as he's known around these traps, is being controlled remotely by a fully qualified doctor, allowing him to make virtual consultations where the doctor himself can't make it to the patient's bedsides. It's a great advance in medical technology for doctors, giving them the ability to check on patients even when they're miles from the hospital. Dr. Alex Ganzas shows us how he uses RoboDoc from the comfort of his office, where he sits and guides the joystick-controlled robot into the rooms of his patients.
The system allows you to be anywhere in the hospital from anywhere in the world. Having said that, I can easily log in from a few yards where this office is from the hospital, or even from a different country overseas.
The machine is fitted out with cameras, a screen and microphone, and allows the good doctor to communicate with his patients as if he were right there in the room with them. It doesn't matter if the doctor is in the next room or in another country. The experience for both patient and doctor is the same.
Combines the internet, robotic technology, and wireless technology, all put together in this device, which looks like a 6-foot tall vacuum cleaner, if you will, but it's a little much more sophisticated than that.
In addition to the normal morning and afternoon in-person rounds, the doctor uses the robot to visit patients at night or when problems arise. Costing around $150,000, the robot can circle the bed and adjust the position of its 2 cameras, enabling the doctor a good look at the issues they're faced with. The idea to use the robot was that of Ganzas, and he says the combination of robotics, wireless technology and the internet has helped him create a very useful medical tool. While the machine does resemble that of a 6-foot tall vacuum cleaner, most patients don't seem to have a problem with it.
It's just something that you just don't see. And until you see it, you're not going to believe it.
Made by InTouch Health of Santa Barbara in California, the robot was presented to the hospital by the doctor as a method to more closely monitor patients following weight loss surgery. The doctor, who is an unpaid member of an advisory board for InTouch Health and has stock options in the company, has said that since the introduction of the robot, the length of stays for patients has been shorter for those visited by the robot.
They love it. As a matter of fact, if they do get upset now if I don't show up with a robot. They rather see me through the robot than with the physically. But I think it has to do with the fact that the technology is new and that we are very curious about the technology. They do embrace the technology, they do accept the technology, and frankly they forget at a certain point that the robot is there.
Recent reviews showed that a study of 376 of the doctor's patients found that 92 patients who had additional robotic visits had shorter hospital stays. Ganza says that many of his patients are now upset when he appears in person, preferring the novelty of the robot. Or maybe it's just because of his bad breath. Here at the Robot Kitchen, it's not just the food that keeps them coming back for more. The waiter is always on his best behaviour. He doesn't get offended by the head chef, and most of all, he doesn't require a tip at the end of the night. These new waiters have something to do with attracting patrons back to this busy little restaurant in downtown Hong Kong. At number 2 on the countdown, our front of house at this food establishment is brightly coloured, has flashing lights for eyes, and is Hong Kong's first robotic waiter. Just like any good host, the robot greets customers and takes their orders. The customer just tells the robot the name of the dish they would like served into the robot's screen, and the order is completed. Although the robot waiter might be a bit slow and awkward when it moves around the restaurant, it offers an evening of entertainment for adults and children alike. The owner of this robot, Director of Cyber Robotics Technology Peter Chow, says that this machine can provide service with a difference.
Hong Kong people like the high-tech gadgets, and since the launch of the robot, the sales of the restaurant increased by 20 to 30%. Customers like to come in to place an order with the robot waiter, and the kids like it more. They play with the robots.
Robo-waiter, as he's known, can't cook the food in the little restaurant, but he can take the orders with absolute precision and offer up a game of Space Invaders while you wait for dinner. It also provides customers something special, service with a real difference.
My daughter really likes to come to this restaurant because she finds the robot very interesting, and it is something new to her. This is the 3rd time we have eaten in this restaurant.
The owner of the restaurant also says that because people living in Hong Kong love high-tech gadgets, they'll love this new way of ordering food when going out. Plans are to add RoboChef to the menu in the near future. Our number 1 spot on a very kooky countdown in this special robot edition goes to another Hong Kong inventor who has used a 3G mobile phone to control his lifelike robot. Nicom, the founder of Hong Kong Human Robot Centre, has created heaps of robots based on his own likeness, and now he's offering courses to help others learn to do the same. This inventor believes he's seen the future and says that the future looks just like him. These are still prototypes, the first generation of human robots. For the next generation of robots that my company will be working on, I hope to add more functions, more joint movements, and with better facial expressions, so they could look and move even more like a human. Lei, who has a background in software design and electronics, has always had a strong interest in robots and was inspired to make his own robot after seeing a simulated human robot at an expo in Japan. There are 2 robots that have been created based on the designer. One male and one female. That's weird. The male robot is known as M1 and the female he calls F1. The faces for both the male and female robots are made from plastic casts of the designer's face. According to Lei, the M1 is a more primitive version, with only the head and the hands made from a simulation human skin, whereas the rest of his body is made of fibre. The F1 is a more refined model, with the colour and skin elasticity being a closer resemblance to human skin than the previous models. The movement of the limbs on the newer female model are much smoother than previous versions. Lei calls his robots human robots because of their close simulation to a real human. They may look like a real human, but their movement in some cases can leave a lot to be desired. I think they do look like me because I use my own face as the mould for both robots. Of course, because my weight fluctuates and I made these 2 robots a year ago, F1's face may appear a bit fatter than I am now. Also, I polished their skin surface, so the skin texture will look a bit smoother than mine. The unique difference with these robots is the ability to control them with your mobile phone. And it's this point of difference that makes the company excited when marketing them, especially the phone company. Some of the unique movements include talking and hearing your own voice through the robot's mouth.
She looks like a woman. When the moving, she's just like a woman. It's very good one. Yes.
The robots can be controlled manually or automatically, just by pushing some buttons on your mobile phone. Basically, once connected, different passwords typed in on the phone control each individual movement, or a whole sequence of movements and responses could be pre-programmed in advance. Lei believes the automatic mode is perfect for someone who may want to use a robot duplicate to give a speech or hold a business meeting. And with 3G mobile, the robot can also be used as a remote monitor, allowing the user to see and listen on his phone what the robot sees and hears from any location. That's it for our robotic countdown. See you next time on a very kooky countdown.